important topic. How
Mm-hmm.
I see it, really, and what prompted me to even begin with this is it shapes everything about you. You
Correct.
think it's unimportant until you realize that it isn't. So many people think about, oh, where did I come from and who am I and what makes me me? And even, a simple question of consciousness, what is it? And all of that. It's more than just that question. You're questioning your ability or your existence. And if you're
Correct.
thinking about your existence, you're thinking about your creator or how you came to be. So it shapes everything about you, how you live your life, how you think. And if you are uncertain and you don't have clarity about that, obviously your life will feel different than if you do,
It's
you
not,
know?
you're not really going to be grounded, regardless of what your belief system is. You will not feel like a grounded individual unless you have that sense of identity and belonging, whether it's religion or the universe, whatever you want to refer to it as. And yeah, I've been teaching a lot about that and relationship. How do you fit into that relationship with your creator, God, or
Yes.
universe, or whatever it might be to you? How does that transfer into the real world? And I get asked all of these questions. It's unreal how many questions people have. And what about aliens? And then, so what's Jesus an alien? And and it comes at you. And what the fact remains, there are some questions that we will never be able to understand until we cross to the other side.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
sometimes it's that acceptance of not being able to be fully knowledgeable.
Mm,
That's challenging for a lot of people. Well, I want to know, and I know we all would love to know, but
mm,
I mean, there's so many realms and realities that exist based on my experience.
mm,
I cannot and I will not tell anyone this is correct and that is wrong, um, because I know enough to know that I know nothing.
mm.
I really
And
know nothing in the grand scheme of things,
yeah.
you
And that's
know?
that's I guess what it means to be human, to
Correct.
constantly be seeking and never knowing because you're always never going to know more than you know now, and it's still never enough.
Never
And
fully
that's
know.
fascinating.
Yeah. 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 We're always seeking. Even after my experience, I'm just like, I'm always, hmm, was he really an alien? Could he have been and I still wonder, and I think, but at the end of the day, what I tell everyone is, listen, you can study comparative religion, you can study all about aliens, all of which I did in my younger years. And it will confuse you to the point of paralysis. Okay. You will get yourself so confused. So at the end of the day, use what you know from your personal experience. Like I had my
Mm,
personal experience with Jesus and with heaven and the angels. That works for me. That works for me. You leave me be. Okay. If someone had an entirely different experience, who am I to tell you don't believe? No, no, no.
mm,
That works for you. That settles your soul and it makes you a better person. Go for it.
mm.
So at the end of the day, whether Jesus was an alien or not, I don't, I choose not to believe that because I consciously choose to believe what I believe because it works for me.
Yeah.
It
Oh
helps
yeah, I
me.
love that.
So that's what it comes down to,
Yeah, I love that.
what works for
And
you.
I was saying to a friend of mine a while ago, we were talking about like the aliens and all that, and I said to her, I find it so fascinating that the God that created the aliens, that the aliens know to be the prime creator or all that is, or whatever they refer the name to, whatever they label they give it, if they do even, is the same creator that created us. It's the same. It's the same. It's not, they don't have a different God than we do. We just, because we in our humanness, we see everything as separate. We see everything as, oh, this is different than that. And we don't make the connections, which are actually very obvious. Um, it's fascinating to think how we think so differently when it could also just be looking at it from a different perspective. That's all it is. Multiple billions and billions of perspectives looking at the same thing, saying, oh, I see this and I see this. But the problem is, we as humans say, oh, what I'm seeing is right and what you're seeing is wrong. That is the
That's where
issue.
the problem comes in. That's what
Yeah.
so my son has been delving deeply into. He has one of those. He has a. He. I guess he's taken my side, and he's always delving into these things and coming to me, Mom, I looked at this documentary you were saying, da, 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 and I read this book and it said, da, 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 da. And I just sat there and was, You know, I have that kind of relationship with him. So I listened to him talk his head off for over an hour. And I said, okay, so he said, okay, so what do you think? He's waiting for like my decision. I said, well, I'm not discounting anything that you've read or heard. I'm not saying that any or all of it is untrue, but what works for you?
Mm,
And then he was like, I don't really know because there are bits and pieces of everything that makes sense to me. I said, but that's where you need to figure out what have you experienced in your life on a personal level that makes sense to you.
mm.
And he was like, okay, shucks, you have to make everything so hard. Why couldn't you just tell me that dude was wrong and she was right? And I was like, not that simple.
Mm.
Everybody has to figure that out, you
Oh
know?
yeah. Oh yeah. My daughter comes to me as well and she's like, "Oh, I learned about Jesus at school." And the other day she well, it was last year. She learned something about Noah and the ark and
Mm,
asking me about, how did they get all the animals in the ark and what is this thing? And I said, I don't know. I wasn't there. I go by, we look at what was written and what the stories that were coming down and were shared with people over the generations. And,
mhm.
stories like that become sometimes like a broken telephone. Someone tells you
Correct.
something, and then the next generation, it gets,
Mhm.
filtered and things change. And by the time we
Yeah.
hear the story, it might be completely different. The whole story
Yeah.
might even be metaphorical. We don't know. It might
Hmm.
be actual. We don't know.
Yeah.
There's evidence pointing to the physical, the floods and all of those things.
Correct.
But
Yeah.
physically, I wasn't there. So I cannot tell you for
Yes.
a fact. You'll know when you die. We
Hmm.
all will. But
That's right.
you can go by what feels right to you. And I think
Correct.
that is a very good way for us to teach our kids how to use the intuition and stop relying on
Yeah.
us or anyone else to tell them what is right or wrong.
Yeah.
Which I don't believe in that. It's very lazy to just blindly accept anything or blindly reject anything.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's what we are alive for, to
That's why I
feel
explored.
our
And
way through.
the thing was, even after my experience with Jesus, I questioned everything. It wasn't just, oh, I had this experience. And yes, a lot of it was based on my faith. So, no, I questioned everything and I
Mm,
researched everything. And that's how the whole comparative religion thing came about. And at the end of the day, I said, listen, the Bible is in a lot of ways may have been tainted and twisted over the years, etc. I accept that. That there's no way it can be handed down and be perfectly accurate. At the same time, science has also proven so many facts about, that thing, ideas and situations and occurrences from the Bible. Science itself has proven so much of it that, to me, that reinforces my belief.
mm,
See, and then someone else on the opposing side might say, well, it's all a propaganda. They made that up so we can so they can pull people towards Christianity. So okay, but then the same can be said for every other religion or every other
mm-hmm,
belief. So is everything propaganda? Everything cannot be propaganda. And
yeah,
there's no way to really tell, really and truly, because
yeah.
we weren't there for anything. So what's left? What's left is science can prove X, Y, Z. It aligns with the Bible. It aligns with what my faith is and what my belief system is, and I've experienced it for myself on a personal level. Therefore, that fits me.
Mm,
This is for Debbie. See?
yeah.
So I tell my kids, even though they're Christians, I say question whatever you want to question. You have the right to.
Yes.
And God will send the answers. You look and He sees you searching, He will send the answers, whether it's what you expect or not,
Oh, yeah.
you
And that's
know?
the thing, whether it's what you expect or not, whether it's what you're going to believe or not. And that's what makes it unconditional. That's what makes love unconditional. The fact that you are allowed to believe what you want. You are allowed to experience what you want. You are allowed to think what you want. If you choose to believe that there is no God and God doesn't exist, you are allowed to, because that is what
Free will.
unconditional love is. Free will. Yes, you
Free
can
will.
do and experience whatever you want. You will not be judged. You will still be accepted equally. You will still be loved equally. You will still be whatever. You will not, be, I don't know, burst into a puff of smoke and cease to exist. It's not like that. And
The God is not that way. God is not
yeah.
judgmental. He may pun, no, I've said that before, and oh boy, did I get some emails, and it was like, oh, so I can go out and commit 5 murders, and God is not going to judge me. Once I begged for forgiveness, and I said that, but no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, as a parent, imagine yourself as a parent, and you're seeing your child commit X, Y, and Z, heinous sins, things that are clearly immoral and unethical. Would you not correct them?
Mhm.
Yes, you will love them with all your heart and soul, and you forgive them deep down inside because that's your child. But would you not discipline them? Yes. And that's what God does. A lot of people misinterpret discipline as punishment.
Mhm. Mm. Or if the word discipline is misinterpreted, it's almost like an opportunity to correct, an opportunity to
Yes.
balance that action.
Yes.
It's a balancing act, I think. It's like, if I did this, there is an equal and opposite reaction. It's,
Yes.
science can explain it as one of Newton's laws or whatever it may be, but
Right.
that's just how it is. There has to be a
Mhm.
balancing act, because the universe, everything comes from a place of balance. That's why
That's
there's
correct.
masculine and feminine and hot and cold and, everything. All the
Correct.
everything needs to have a polar. So
Mhm.
that's just how it is. It's nothing personal, you know.
That's good. That's where the problem is. Everyone thinks it's a personal vendetta, a personal thing. It's not. It's not. God is not about that.
Yeah. What was your favorite thing about just your NDE, meeting Jesus, or anything
Oh,
that's just been mind blowing for you?
I
Well, I know all of it,
honestly,
but
seriously, like to put my finger on one thing, that would be really challenging. But I don't know. Every second was mind blowing. Everything about everything blew my mind.
yeah.
But I know especially the ocean really, really caught me in such, I don't know why really, but it really hit home for some reason. Maybe it's my connection to water, which is so ironic because I'm terrified of going into deep waters. I'd go in, maybe knee deep or something, and then after that, I'm out, right? I'm done. So there's a fear of it, but at the same time, there's such a beauty that I love and admire about it. It's almost as though I can't exist without water around me.
Mm,
So the ocean was just, it swallowed me whole, man, that ocean.
wow.
Yeah.
Maybe you have other connections to it.
I believe that I
Connections you're
do.
not aware of. Mm.
I believe that I do. And by and by, the Lord will reveal that. I know I
Mm.
do. I know I do. Even I did go through two past life regressions, and in both of those lives, I lived very close to a large body of water. So
Mm.
there was
Interesting.
always there was always that element there for me
Mm.
with water. Yeah.
But those were just your human past life regressions. There may be others, you know,
Who knows?
where
Yeah.
maybe you were a water being or something. Who knows?
Could be. I don't know, but there's definitely a strong pull towards any body of water I see. I naturally gravitate towards it,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
I'm the same. I live nearby the ocean and I love it.
Oh, I hate
You
you.
don't?
I hate you. Well, I'm in Canada, so it's like freezing out here. Even where I live,
Mm.
there are no dams or lakes or anything close by.
Mm.
Um, So ideally my thing is when I get a little bit older, I want a nice little tiny shack right near I step out and there's the ocean and there's some trees and life is sweet. That's perfect for me right
Yeah.
there.
I also
Always.
feel very at home near the ocean. It's just a feeling of being at home.
Yes.
I don't know what it is. I also
I
cannot
don't know
describe
this
it.
either. It's like being home and it's like sometimes I feel like I can control water. I mean,
Ooh.
obviously I've never tried it, but I feel such a strong connection. I feel like, okay, maybe if I tried, like I don't know where that came from. It just suddenly occurred to me,
Mm.
I wonder if I can control the waves and the tides or, you know,
Mm.
can I control the flow of the water? I don't know where. Of course, like when back to reality, and it's like, come on, Timmy, who are you? You're not gonna control water. But I feel like maybe at some other point I did. I don't know.
Exactly. Because again, that's just the human you now here saying that. But,
Yeah.
it's a limited perspective. We all have a very limited human perspective, and that's just how it is for now.
Yeah. But no, that's correct.
Now, wow. So tell me, what was it like being in the presence of Jesus? What did it feel like?
There are no words. It's like fuel for me. If I'm down or I'm having a rough day or I'm stressed, whatever it is, I revert to that memory of being even remotely close to him, or remembering the feeling of his arms around me,
Mm.
or looking into his eyes, and it's just home. He is home. Whether it's on a beach or I don't care, wherever he is, that's my home. And there's no feeling like being home. Yes? There's just no replacement for a home, and he is that. Is beyond describable.
Mm.
That sense of perfect comfort. Perfect. I can't wait to go back. I just can't wait. And like I said in my book and everything else, it's I could have stayed right next to his toes, not daring to touch. I
Yeah.
could have remained there, I swear, for all of eternity and been just perfectly content. Did not need like a crown, the streets of gold and mansions. I don't care, bro. I just wanted right near his toes, right there. And I knew he was there and I knew I was safe and I was home and nothing could touch me and nothing could hurt me. Pure perfection. Pure perfection.
Wow.
I just,
Sounds like it sounds like just the perfect combination of safety, security, love, acceptance, understanding.
yes, everything that is good that you can think of.
Yeah.
Everything, every word you can use in our language that is good and positive does not even compare to the energy that he emanates.
Wow.
It's, it's the best way I can state it.
Mm.
It's just the best way I can say it.
And he knew you.
He knew me.
Yeah.
And inside out, flaws, faults, no judgment, no, mm-mm, just pure acceptance. You are who you are. I created you this way. Yes, this may not be the greatest of habits, but I'm not gonna not love you for that. I'm gonna love you through it until you get to the point where you've learned what you were supposed to learn from that circumstance. He loves
Mm.
you. He loves you through everything. And I always kind of have this image in my head that while I was being assaulted, while I was being raped, like, I always had I mentioned my scapula's always around my neck. And, this was the one thing that I held on to, like through all of those assaults. I was just, fighting and screaming and all of that. But my hand was always like this. And And I have this image in my head of him right next to me while that is happening. And I'm screaming and I'm crying and I'm wailing and whatever. And I'm holding on to this, and he's right there next to me, holding my other hand. Not in a physical sense, but holding on to me and crying with me and feeling the pain that I was feeling and saying, it's okay, it's okay. It's almost over. It's almost over. And I could see him there just being with me through that when no one else was. And a lot of people say, but how can you say that, man? That's his fault. No, it's not his fault. He does not want these things to happen to us. He allows certain things to happen to us so we can learn something from it. If had I not gone through that, would I have been in a position to really effectively help anyone else? No. Everything is about perspective. And so I hold on to that and I see him, weeping with me and just cuddling me in a corner when I was just traumatized and numb and just kind of holding me and like you would rock a baby who's crying and saying shh, 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 like that, and I can just see him like that. I don't blame him. Mm-mm. It's a lot like Job. The devil can't. Now, when I say the devil, I say figuratively. Negative energies, negative forces, the devil, for ease of reference, he is not permitted to touch anyone that belongs to the divine, that belongs to God. He's not permitted to do that. He has to go in the presence of God Almighty and ask permission. Can I do XYZ to Job? Just to see, if he's really faithful. In the same way, I'm sure he had to go to God and said, can I mess with Debbie this way? Bet she'll curse you. Bet she'll hate you after that. And God would have had to say, okay, go ahead. So that is a testament of God's faith in me. He
Mm.
That was his expression of love and trust in me, that I would not turn against him. And I didn't. I mean, I was angry, yes, but did I turn? No, did not turn against him. So again, everything is about perspective. Everything.
As you were speaking, it's like all of us, well, not all of us go through what you've gone through. That was exceptionally painful and traumatic. But even the daily sufferings that we experience, it's like, are you going to still believe? Are you still going to worship God? Are you still going to praise God? Are you still going to have gratitude for the fact that you exist and that God is breathing life into you at every single moment? Or are you going to be like, oh, I'm struggling financially, health wise, this, that. So, God is punishing me and and you just go the other direction. It's like, what are you going
There
to
have
choose?
been
What There's no
it
comfort in
you can't.
saying, you know.
No, you see, the thing is, and this is why I really wanted to start the podcast, because it's more than likely going to be called a bare feet the journey, because every day was different from the other. There were some days I'd be so angry with God, I don't even talk about Jesus next, just don't, I couldn't deal with it. And then the next day I'd be crying on my knees, Lord help me, Lord help me. And it's such that kind of trauma that not just me, I mean, people, women, men, especially men, everyone, we go through trauma, and there are so many ups and downs. But let's say I'm angry with the Lord for a week. No, and I've had, you know, I turned the picture of Jesus around and, don't want to see you. I know you didn't do this, but you allowed it, and, I'm mad. After 1 week of anger and frustration and ranting and raving, I'd always come back to the point where I was blessed enough to have this experience with my Lord. At the end of all of the horrors, he chose me to be with him. And that should mean something. And then I'd kind of rescind and I'm like, okay, all right, I know, and then I go turn his picture around again and then we become friends. And I always say it's about relationship. It's about relationship. And he is my best friend. So I get angry and I use bad language and I blah, 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 and I carry on with him and just like my best friend, when I'm through with all of that nonsense, he like, okay. And I've literally heard his voice say this to me a couple of times. Are you done? Are you gonna shut up now and listen to what I have to say? With the same kind of sarcasm that I would throw at him, he comes back with, he has such a sense of humor. And then I'm like, okay, well, fine, say what you have to say. And some might
Yeah.
say, okay, well, she's off her rocker, but then, I have a distinct voice. And he tells me what he has to tell me, and then there's my answer.
Yeah.
You see? So it's all about offloading our burdens. And our burdens
Yeah.
are what we have in our minds, what we have in our hearts that we hold against ourselves, against other people, situations. If we do not vent it, then it stays in here. And when it stays in here, is there room for Jesus? You're not leaving
No.
any space. You got to get it out. Then that
Mhm.
allows him the space to come in and work his magic, which he does
Mhm.
in unspeakable ways. You would not believe over the years. Unspeakable ways that just went like, did that just happen? Like how? And it's all him. But he waits for us to surrender, and that's a tricky, difficult thing to do,
Oh, yeah.
you
The
know?
surrender. It is difficult. It is tricky because we feel like we need to have control. I know for me, I find it difficult to surrender because
Mhm.
for me that feels almost like I'm giving up control and putting it in the hands of someone else to fix me, heal me, help me, whatever.
Mhm.
And I have a belief system which I'm still unraveling and getting to the bottom of. But this belief system is like, I am responsible for my own life and I need to do everything by myself. And I have
Mhm.
this need of, I don't know what it is, but me, and I'm sure there's many different experiences in my life that contributed to this belief system, but I have this unbelievable sense of responsibility for everything and everyone, my family, my friends, my obviously my child, my siblings. And I always feel like everything is on my shoulders and I need to fix things and I need to do the thing and I need to help and I need to solve and I need to. And I wonder why. Why do I
Mhm.
have this burden on myself? Because when I was diagnosed with hypertension, I had to self-reflect and say, okay,
Mhm.
where is this pressure coming from? This pressure to fix and be the savior for everyone. I literally said, I'm not Jesus. I don't want to be everyone's savior. But yet
Yeah.
here I feel like I have to hold this burden. And
Mhm.
I'm still, processing and transforming through this experience. But it's big. It's
It's
not
very
one
big.
day. Yeah, one
Yes,
day you all fix.
correct.
It's big.
I know, and I've been through that where especially after the kidnapping, where I felt I needed to protect everyone around me. I
Mm,
needed to, be strong for my husband so he doesn't fall apart, and I needed to hide everything from my kids to protect their well-being. And there was no way I could tell my parents because they were older and you don't want to lay that kind of stress on them.
yeah.
And I didn't feel comfortable laying that burden on my brother and my best friends. I felt like, they've got their own lives. Why would I drop all of this heavy stuff on them? And I felt like I needed to be strong every day, wake up every day, go through, everything that I need to do for my kids and with my kids. And whenever they were in my presence, I needed to hide everything super tight and smile and be happy and have fun with them. And I did, but there were times where countless times, I just literally went into to the bathroom and just hid and cried and cried and cried and cried and cried and then come back out with a big old smile on my face. And this is a burden I've been carrying for so long. And then the book and speaking about the book and this, these tasks that the Lord gave me to fulfill. And I've been doing that, but it's been a heavy, heavy burden. Joyous in a lot of ways, but nevertheless, it takes a toll. And then having to work a regular job on top of that and be responsible for that and responsible for the home and everything else. And just be normal. Just be normal after all of that trauma. And you know what that ended up doing? It just broke me. It broke me. And now that my kids are grown, um, for the most part, I'm getting older and older. I'm starting to realize I took those burdens on myself. God never really intended me to have those burdens. His intention was really for me to continue his work, not so much focus on protecting every single person around me and taking care of everyone around me, because I felt that was the right thing to do and the responsible thing to do, etc. And now I'm at the point where if my kids are uncomfortable with certain things, I'm still there for them. Don't get me wrong. I do what I can to help them, but there comes a point where when I get to that point and that boundary, and I say, okay, Debbie, you need to take a breath and get your head together. And then there'll be 2, 3 days would go by. I won't cook, I won't wash, I won't clean. I leave it on them. And I spend a little time with myself or with the Lord and just not do anything. And then
Mm,
now I feel okay with it because I understand that I need to let them go as well.
mm,
And really, that's what it came down to. I held on to all of that responsibility to keep me so busy and occupied that it did not allow me the space to think.
mm,
Because when I was allowed that space to think, the thoughts were not positive, you see? So I had to cut that off at a certain point and say, Lord, take care of my kids. I pray for them. I do the best I can for them. They know this. I need to let go. I need to let go of my parents. I need to let go of all of these responsibilities I take on myself. I do the best that I can, but I'm not going to try to do beyond my best because
mm,
it's taking a toll on me and my health. Now I focus on me. Because if
yeah,
I'm gone, then how can I help anyone? I won't be able to. In fact, I'll be a
yeah,
burden, which I don't
yeah.
want. So it's about letting go.
Oh,
You're not
yeah. That
meant,
sounds
you're not meant
familiar.
to, yeah, you're not meant to shoulder. We feel, especially as women, that we need to. Um, Really, we don't. We do what we do to a point, but there should always be that little gap, that little opening for us.
Mm.
See?
Yeah,
Otherwise,
letting
we
go
get
of the
lost.
attachments sounds and
It's
feels
hard.
way better. If I could spend all day just sitting and meditating and being in praise, that I love doing that. It feels so good. I could sit on my balcony for hours and just, wow, look at the mountain. Wow, look at the ocean. Wow, look at the clouds. And, I can just sit there. And sometimes I do for hours. And it's like, I'm hungry. Can I get something to eat now? You've been out there forever. Like, okay, I'm
See, when
coming.
when you when you're responsible for children, it's you
Different.
have to do
Yeah.
what you have to do. But the mistake I made was I never carved out that little bit of time for me. I didn't do that. Everything surrounded everyone else. you
Yeah.
know but now okay, this time that's my time and nobody's
Mm,
messing with that, right? I want to write for these 2 hours, leave me alone. Just leave
mm,
me alone. Unless you're dying, don't bug me. Like
mm.
that. So it's stages. You'll get there. You'll see. It's stages.
Yeah, I'll get there. I'm learning, I'm learning. I'm still a mere
So am I.
seedling in this world. So much
So
to
am
learn.
I. I still learn every day from my students. The students I teach and my own kids, I learn every day. It's never ending.
Yeah. Wow.
Hence the podcast, The Journey, because day by day, after trauma, you have to take it day by, and every day is different. And when this
Yeah.
pops up, what do you do? And when that
Yeah.
triggers you, what do you do? Nobody tells you that, right? And
Nobody.
and that's what I want to share because no doctor's going to tell you because they can't relate. See,
Yeah.
they give you the pills and okay. But
Mm.
2 in the morning, someone calls me, oh, I want to slit my throat or I want to whatever, and I have to talk them down. And it's people are really going through it, man. People are
Yeah.
going through it. Yeah.
It is. It is. And I think the podcast will help a lot. When are you planning on launching it, or have you already?
No, I haven't yet. I'm supposed to start recording hopefully by this weekend. So I'm still kind of feeling my way out because I haven't done this
Yeah.
before. So, and I'm not techie, so you can imagine, right? I'm gonna figure it out, but hopefully by the end of January, I should have everything in place. Hopefully,
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah,
and
you should
then
send me all the
yeah.
links and things, then I can attach it at the in the description of this upload.
Oh, for sure, for sure, for sure.
Yeah. I will definitely listen. I will definitely listen. I could speak to you for hours, so I know I'm gonna enjoy.
And it's gonna be very real. It's not like holier than thou, I went to heaven and no, I'm not one of those. I'm really down to earth and if I'm in a bad mood, you'll know I'm in a bad mood kind of thing. And we just go because I'm real. It's real people, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's real people. And it's funny because if you look in the spiritual community, you see a lot of different things. You see people, pretending to be someone they're not because they think that that is what others need or want. And what they need and want is for you to be who you are, so that they can have permission to be who they are. Because that's everyone's problem. You're not yourself, and you're taking on things that are not yours to take on because you think that you should. That's everyone's problem. So
So really, it's not your problem, it's everybody else's problem that you're taking
yeah,
on, which
yeah,
is not your job. That's not your job, you know?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
rough.
And we would all be so much happier if we were just all content with who we are and say, you know what, this is who I am, and this
Yeah.
is how I am, and I'm not perfect, but I am learning every day and I'm improving every day. And so I accept myself and I love myself and I accept and I love you. And that's it,
Well,
the end.
that's the thing. That's very difficult to do after trauma. There is a long, I mean, it varies from person to person. I went for years not being able to look myself in the eyes, in a mirror, my reflection. I could not. I did not know who I was looking at. I mean, I knew my name, that's about it. And it took me years, I think the Lord knew what I was dealing with, and that's why He allowed me to suffer that way. And I had a vision with Him about who I really am, and I was with Him again, but I was a child. And it was only after that experience I was able to accept who I am. It was only then I realized, oh, okay, so I've been spending my whole life doing X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, E, and this is really who Debbie is.
Mm,
Wow. And He doesn't care.
mm,
Oh, and He loves me nonetheless. So then, when He tells me it's my fault that I was kidnapped, and when she says to me, it's your fault you were raped, and when the other one says, oh, you're just doing all of this for money and you don't really care about anyone, why should I bother about what they think? If the Most High loves me that much, oh,
mm.
all of a sudden
Me too.
everybody disappeared,
Me too.
you
That's
know?
my comfort as well, no matter what I go through. Because I mean, I have never experienced as much trauma as you did, or in that way. But I too had moments where I could not look myself in the eye. I was so ashamed of my decisions and who I was and the things I was doing. And I was just in a lot of shame, and I felt very disappointed in, my decisions and all the things. And when I started to uncover and unpack and learn what self-love really is, and acceptance and self-forgiveness, it was like that's what it boiled down to. If I can realize and if I can remember daily that the Lord created me perfectly as I am, and He loves and accepts me perfectly as I am, why on earth am I bothering with everyone else and what they have to say? That means I need to consider, I don't know how many billion people are on this planet, that many billion perspectives I need to consider in my life. That is just ridiculous. It's not acceptable. Who cares?
You know, it's something that I even teach that to my daughter, you know, as females, you know, she's young, she's growing up, she's gonna have little issues, and I always tell her, just remember, like, because we have some of a few of her baby pictures left after the kidnapping. And I said, this little tiny person, this little cutie pie you see in the picture here, with the little dress eating her ice cream, all messy. That's the way. She said, yeah, mommy. And she was snuggling on me and making a big. I said, yes, that's the way I love you. That's the way you are. I'm not going to change. And I said, you know what? Always remember, that's the same way Jesus sees you. No matter how old you get, I'm always going to see you like this little tiny pink creature that came into the world that I had to take care of. Because I nicknamed her Rose because she was born, she was pink like a rose. And I said, you'll always be my little tiny rose. I don't care if you're 50. I see,
Mm,
look at you, and I see the little rose, and that's the way Jesus sees you. So don't let anybody in their disgusting words and insults and whatever, don't let them make you feel any less. If Jesus sees
mm,
you as that, come on. Are you kidding me? Who are
mm,
they?
mm.
Who are
And
they?
even your own negative self-talk and your own negative limiting beliefs, even those, you need to say, I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to listen. I'm choosing what I know, which is that I'm loved and I'm accepted unconditionally. Because when we hear it from other people, it's easy to say, oh, don't listen to him. He doesn't know. He's jealous, this, that. But when it comes from yourself and you are saying, oh, you couldn't do that. You're not good enough. And how are you going to get that right? No, I don't think you can do that. It's different because now it's coming from yourself, you know?
Correct. Correct. And that's another reason I really want to push this podcast. Because one day I'm feeling like that, and the next day I'm like, did you really think this was gonna happen? And you know, and I'm doubting again, and then it's a never ending, you know, wave cycles, and all of that's what I want to share. That it's not abnormal.
Mm,
Don't beat yourself over the head because 4 days for the week you feel crappy. That's okay. You're allowed to feel crappy. What you do with it after, it's what counts. You know,
mm,
it's okay. People don't give themselves room to suffer. They don't give themselves room to
mm,
grieve and to cry and feel badly. And you need that room. You must feel those emotions. You're a human being. If you don't allow
yeah.
yourself, it's going to fester, and then become something terrible all by itself, you
Oh,
know?
yeah.
So I believe in
Oh, yeah.
venting. I believe in
Oh,
that.
yeah. And who better to vent to than, you could just journal about it. You could,
Hmm.
speak to the Lord about it. You could do whatever. Just get
Yeah,
it out of your system.
that's
Get it out
correct.
of it, out of you.
I mean, I vent everything. It must be so tired of me. Like, does this girl
Never,
ever shut up, man? It's
never,
probably-
never, never.
You know, I know that, but then I'm thinking like, oh my God, he must be so tired of me. Like, you know, but I know it's not true, you know. But
Yeah.
so yeah.
Wow. But I've also heard for many people who've met Jesus in their NDEs and even in out of body experiences and so on, they always say he's got a sense of humor. He's funny. He's
Oh,
witty. He
he's
is,
so witty.
yeah, he likes, he'll tease you. He'll tease.
Yes. Yes, he's just like that. If you think you're sarcastic, oh my gosh, he can drop it on you like that, and you won't think, oh, that's Jesus. He's he's so, I don't know, he's so much like us. In you know,
Yeah.
in that respect. You're gonna be, he gives it back to me, you're ready to shut up now. You know,
Mm,
so the same tone I use, he uses it back at me, you know, and I'm like, and that's what friendship is. That's what relationship is.
mm.
That's why I love him
Yeah, well,
so.
you could just be yourself. I don't have to
Yeah,
be someone different to you and be someone different to someone else. That is so exhausting. I used to be like
exactly.
that when I was a teenager. I had to
Really?
put on a face for so and then put on a different face for so and so. And then if you get so and so and so and so in the same room, oh God, you
Really?
don't know who to be.
Oh my gosh, no, I was never, I don't know if that was predestined or what, as even as a child. I was me. I didn't like you. I'd look you, I mean, not say anything, but the look on my face would be like, stay away from. Like, I have always been that way. I never tried in the least to be someone I wasn't. And you didn't like me? All right, whatever. I just simply never cared. I
Wow,
never
that is a
cared.
blessing. That really is amazing.
I really never did. And even now, it's like, and I mean, it's not like I don't like people, but if I feel that your energy is not right, doesn't sit right with me, I stay away.
Mm, yeah.
But growing up, you're still learning, you're young. It was like, oh, she doesn't like me,
Yeah.
talk to her. I just keep my
Yeah.
distance.
I really had to unlearn a lot of things because what I did was I was like, okay, I see how you are, so I would change who I am to manipulate you to give me what I want, whether it be a
Oh, I see.
conversation or whatever it is. Then I would say,
Mm,
okay, so this is what they respond to positively, so I would
mm.
change my behavior, the way I
Oh,
speak, who I am, whatever,
I
and
see.
then get what I want out of that person. So I was so
Hmm.
good at it. I had to learn to just be normal, just be myself all the time.
Oh,
And
okay.
I realized, it happened over time because there were a lot of things that happened in my childhood that made me feel like I wasn't safe being myself and that I needed to be someone different in order to survive. Right? We'll just call it survive. There's lots of things. Um, but then when I got to the point where I realized that I am safe and it's okay to be me and it's okay to love myself the way I am and not look for validation outside of myself and not look for someone to, give me worthiness outside of who I am, then it changed. Then it became dumb, and I would see what I was doing. I would see, oh, here's the thing I'm doing. I see I'm doing it now. Okay, cool. I don't need to do that anymore. Then it faded over time, but it took a lot of self-awareness because it became unconscious after a while, where you just do it on autopilot. Um, and I think a lot of people walk around that way. They just don't know it because they've been doing it for so long.
Correct. Yeah. And it's a journey. That in itself is a journey that you have to go through on your own to find your way to not really caring what other people think, you know? And
Yeah.
I always tell my kids that, yeah, you want to pass all of your exams and that's great. Do you think if the world were to end now, do you think God is gonna like pull out your transcripts and say, why did you not pass so and so? Come on, he looks at your heart. I'm not saying don't study. I'm just saying try your best, and that's the best you can do. And
Yes.
I will never criticize you for that. Never.
Mm,
So accept.
yeah. And the intentions, what are your intentions? Are your intentions
Correct.
pure? Are they aligned? Are they for the purpose of, improvement, whether it be for yourself or someone else? Because
Mm,
it's the selfishness that I realize. It's the selfishness of
correct.
those actions and the selfishness of those intentions that are actually harmful.
That's right.
You know?
It's the intention behind everything we do.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times people feel that they can hide that intention.
Mm.
Maybe they can hide it from others, but not from the Almighty. He knows what's
Oh
going on in
yeah.
there, you know. So sometimes I've had to admit to the Lord, I said, Lord, I'm doing this for you because you told me I had to do it and I don't want to disobey you. But
Mm.
left up to me, I wouldn't. And in that
Mm.
tone, that's a relationship we have. And then I would confess, and then I'd say, Lord, okay, well, please help me to change that. I want to do this
Yes.
because I want to do it for you, to give you glory.
Yes.
And gradually he would help me change that. He helped me change that intention. And it wasn't because I had to. It became, I want to do this for you.
Yes.
See? So we all struggle. It's a daily thing, you
Yeah,
know.
I can totally relate to that because before I awakened, we'll just call it awakened, um, it was easy, you just go about life, you go to work and whatever, everything is just fine, and you just come home and you watch TV and whatever, life is
Hmm.
fine. And
Hmm.
then when you actually awaken and you realize, oh my goodness, I need to take all of my sufferings and learnings and I need to help people because this is a calling that's put on you. It's not like I don't know how to describe it to you, but you'll know what I mean. It's like nothing else will satisfy you as much as this. There is no other feeling that comes close to the satisfaction you get from doing what you are told to do, right? And then I too had that same conversation, that same ranting. And I said, you know what, God, I'm doing all the things you said I must do. I'm getting all these people together. I'm doing all the books you said and everything. I'm doing all the things. You're giving me these assignments and I'm completing them. And I never complain about them. But like, I'm still broke. Like, when are you going to sort me out? Like I need to go to the dentist. I've got a sore tooth. I've got a hole in my tooth. Like, sort me out, to help me. And I get mad and I
Yeah.
get
Oh
angry,
my gosh. I
you know?
I rave on him about that one. I said, Lord, look, I'm even putting aside an hour and a half every Thursday. If anybody wants to join, they're free to join. It's under Randy K Ministries. It's called My Family. And we just have like a group session where we pray for a few minutes, but then my approach is I'm keeping it real. We talk
Mm,
about whatever needs to be discussed within that group, and I'm hosting it, and I'm giving of my time freely. I counsel people for free.
mm,
Those who can pay whatever they can pay, fine, but it's like nothing compared to the cost of living, right? I have three part-time jobs to try to pay my bills. And I'm always like in a struggle, or I'm like always exhausted, and I'm trying to write on top of that. And sometimes I'm like, Lord, just what you said, I'm helping all of these people. I'm putting the word out there. Anybody invites me, I obey you and I go and I speak. When are you going to take care of me? When are you going to
mm,
make my life comfortable where I don't have to worry about money anymore?
mm.
And because I'm getting older, right? I mean, I don't want to have to be dependent on my kids or anyone. Can you please help
Yeah.
me for once? And I get no response, you
Oh,
know?
yeah. I was just going to say, did you get a response? Because
No.
I didn't.
And no response. And I know what that means. When I get no response, it means cool it, cool it. In time, you'll see. And
Yeah.
and I
In
trust him
time.
enough to say, okay, fine, in time, in your time, not my time.
Yeah.
But it's rough. It's
Well,
rough.
that's the best we can do is just do the work that he gives us to do. Because we are nothing but, here for him to work through us. There's things that we don't even
It's
understand
vessels.
at work here. There's things we don't even understand that's going on behind the scenes. And we need to play a certain role so that other things can move and happen and take place
Correct.
and shift. There's a
Correct.
whole humanity that's waking up and shifting and
Mm-hmm.
expanding,
Quite
and a
correct.
whole consciousness that is evolving. And
Mm-hmm.
we have a role in it.
That's
We don't
right.
know how big or small the role is, but it has a ripple effect. And we
Yes,
have to do our duty, all of us. It's not
that's right.
about, oh, I am this and you are that. And the time for selfishness and the time for righteousness we are
Yeah.
way beyond that now, you
It's
know.
long gone. I always tell my kids that. I said, listen, you might think God is not hearing your prayer, but you're here, and so are billions of other people with their petitions lined up, and the Lord has to shift things around, put that person there, and that person has to die, so this one can come here in order to meet you there, and it's a whole big, massive billion piece puzzle that he's working with behind that we
Yeah,
cannot even conceive. So
exactly.
we need to be patient, and that's a tough word to come to terms with, but we need to be patient because he's
Exactly.
working things.
It's an orchestration that we won't even be able to comprehend. It's so
No,
grand, you
that's
know.
correct.
And we are
Yeah,
part of it.
we
Let's
are.
do what we
And
need to do.
and by being patient, we are helping.
Yeah.
We are helping because on top of that, he's saying, okay, well, he's protecting us from the evil that's out there. Hey, don't touch my girls. Stay back.
Mm,
And so there's so many dynamics happening. It's tough to
mm,
remember that when we're in our own discomfort, as I like to
mm.
put it, you know?
Yeah.
So
Well,
sure.
please send me all of the details to your group meeting. and
Yes, I will do that.
your website and your book. I'll put the
Hmm.
details to the book we're working on together as well in the description. Send me all the links you
Hmm.
want me to add to the description as well. I'll do that for you.
Yeah, I thank you. I appreciate that.
No, I appreciate you.
So,
Oh my goodness, you are the best.
oh, thank you. But if you when you want to go into this other venture, let me know. I'm sure I can help you
Yeah,
out
we
there
should
in some
actually
way.
talk about that. I think
Yeah.
we'll talk about it soon.
I
I'll send
love
you
the
a voice note.
name. Like, I love the
Oh, it
name.
came to me in a dream. I know that sounds so, ooh,
No,
but it
no, no, no,
really
no,
did.
no. My best writing ideas, I dream them all. I swear. There's a little green book over there. Like I have scribbled. Like the best ideas I have, I dream them. And I wake up like, and my
Oh, I
daughter
have
knows,
to write this down.
she's like, what did you dream? She brings the green book for me because I wake up looking stupefied, right? So yeah, it's not crazy at all. That's not crazy
Oh,
at
but I'm
all.
so excited about it. I'll tell you all about it. I'll send you some voice notes when I
Yeah,
get
sounds
around to
good.
planning about it. Yeah, and then we can talk more about it. But I
Sounds
really enjoyed
good.
speaking to you today. I hope we can
Oh,
chat
me
again
too.
soon.
Sure.
Yeah,
Just
I
let me
know
know in
you're so
advance and
busy.
I can try to make a little time. The meetings are definitely gonna clash with my
Yeah.
schedule. But the like this one-on-one, we can kind of, you know, work with that a little bit depending on our schedules if we want to.